Attention. This is an emergency broadcast.
An extinction level event is now imminent. All major governments and military authorities have collapsed. At this time, officials have confirmed only 3 approved survival protocols. Like, comment, subscribe.
This is an emergency broadcast.
I'm not sure where your education came from, but they lied to you.
Stats don't lie, though. How does that feel, by the way?
At this time, officials have confirmed only 3 approved survival protocols. Like, comment, subscribe. An extinction level event is now imminent.
attention. This is an emergency broadcast. If you can hear this, run! Run for your lives! The world has chosen. The nuclear reaction. This is the nuclear reaction.
Sir, with all due respect, bro, I promise you would not be smacking anybody in real life. Listen, sir. Anywhere, any place, I would say the same thing I said to you up here. You're an idiot, you're dumb, and you're un-American, you're uneducated, and your IQ is around 50. You're mad at me because I'm smarter than you. You're mad at me because I'm better than you in every single way. You're mad at me because I'm more eloquent than you. That's why you're mad at me. Just admit it. That's why you're really mad at me. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Nuclear Reaction. Episode 27, I believe this is. We're going to start off with a segment talking about the LINDSAY CLANCY situation. I need to get... Yeah, something's going on with my TikTok audio. Let me just make sure. Yeah, people cannot hear me on TikTok. Hold on, guys. Give us just a second here. Okay, perfect. Yeah, we just have to get the TikTok audio situated. Can you guys hear me over on YouTube, though? I see Kuma. I see Chucky. I see Kristen. Okay, so on YouTube, people can hear me, but over on TikTok, people can't hear me. Okay. Let's get into it, though. Yeah, just give us a second, guys. We're going to try to fix the TikTok audio. Yeah, just give us 1 second for the people on YouTube. People on TikTok, I'm sorry. People on YouTube can hear us perfectly fine. He's probably on the phone. No, I'm not on the phone. I know I'm muted on TikTok, guys. Just give me a second. Okay, testing. I see something going out on TikTok now. Can you guys hear us now? Someone says they can hear. Yes. Okay, perfect. Sounds good. We're still going to give the TikTok stream a quick reset, and then we're going to, just so people can, just give us a second. Okay, we're going to give the TikTok stream a quick reset here. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, welcome in, everyone, to the Nuclear Reaction, the live polemical discussion, call-in, and reaction show. We are going to start off, this segment is going to start off with us talking about the LINDSAY CLANCY situation. If you guys don't know about it, LINDSAY CLANCY, a woman from Massachusetts, murdered, I believe it's Duxbury, Massachusetts, just to be more specific, murdered her 3 young children, the oldest being 5 years old, I believe, in 2023, January 24th of 2023. And there's been a lot of tension, a lot of media conversations, a lot of sort of this gender war stuff over, was it postpartum psychosis? Did she have like real intent, malice intent to harm her children, or was it just a psychotic episode? And a lot of women online are just claiming that, well, she didn't do it. They have a conspiracy theory that her husband, Patrick, was the one responsible for the murder of the children, although there's no evidence for that, and the defense is not arguing that. But I wanted to give us a better insight on this really quickly before we get into the live debate. So let's go over to reaction here. And this is an article here from CNN, the best non-biased, non-liberal source possible. Someone says Lindsay Clancy was Mossad. Yeah, that's something that I wouldn't be surprised if people actually believed at this point, because of just how far we've gotten away from normal society. But their whole claim was that, well, she was having a crazy psychotic episode. She never wanted to kill her children. She just became crazy, right? But this article reads, Lindsay Clancy was calm and cooperative days after killing her 3 children, psychiatrist says. Now, there's been a lot of conversations about, what psychiatrist or psychologist interviewed her. Just so people know, psychiatrists are really who we're trying to get answers from, because psychiatrists prescribe medications, unlike psychologists, and they look at more of the biological aspects of things, like the chemicals in your brain and what biologically motivates certain human behaviors, and they diagnose mental conditions and mental disorders, like actual mental disorders. And it says here, the first sentence basically starts off saying, Lindsay Clancy was calm and cooperative during a psychiatric examination days after killing her children and attempting suicide, a psychiatrist testified at her murder trial Monday. Dr. Sajal Shah testified she examined Clancy multiple times at Boston's Brigham and Women's Hospital in January and February 2023. Now, she committed the murder in late January 2023, and the psychiatrist basically examined her, January and February. So the month that she did it and the month following the murder. In a January 30th, 2023 assessment, this would be 6 days after her committing the murder, Clancy denied having suicidal or homicidal intentions. Interesting. Denied having hallucinations or delusions that day, and her thought process was, quote, organized and, quote, goal-oriented, Shah said. In another assessment in February, Clancy was focused on her legal and physical situation and was looking forward to her rehab, Shah said. So it's interesting. And on cross-examination, Shah agreed Clancy was an, quote, honest patient. She acknowledged a person can communicate and make plans while still being in a state of psychosis, which is true. But she seemed calm, no suicidal ideations, or, for example, homicidal intentions, which is sort of contradictory to what we've been hearing a lot recently. And I thought I would bring that up as being important because the whole claim was that, well, she just went crazy. But the psychiatrist said that you seemed pretty normal. You seemed like you were pretty normal, in a normal state, and so on. And another feature about this case, by the way, which I think is very important and I think all of us must recognize, is the fact that she sent out her husband, Patrick, to some errands. Like, she sent him to run errands so that he wouldn't be home while she did the murders, which is not typically what people do during a psychotic episode. When you're in a psychotic episode, you typically don't think things out very clearly. You're not meticulously planning things. There's not a lot of premeditation going on. That is, you do premeditation when there's a lot of thought behind what you're doing. And if I'm not mistaken, she literally Googled how far away, like, 'cause she sent her husband out to get, I believe, medication for the daughter, and also sent him out to get takeout. And so she made sure that the distances would match up so that he would be away for a long enough time period for her to do the murders. Now, that's premeditation in of itself. And it's funny how, it was a psychotic episode. That same day, I'm pretty sure she took her daughter to see the doctor. She was playing with the kids in the snow. She was doing all of these different things. And if she felt weird that day, she could have told her husband, like, hey, I feel suicidal, or I feel like I'm not going to, like I can't be around the kids or something. But she never said any of those things at all, right? And so that argument of just random psychosis falls apart. And people, the defense is bringing up the fact that it's not that they think that she didn't do it. The defense knows she did the crime, unlike a lot of crazy women out there, okay? But the defense is making the argument that, well, although she knew what she was doing, in terms of, like, killing the children or whatever, like, she actually did that. She was just in a state of psychosis. She was going crazy, and she had suicidal ideations. Why target the kids then? You could have just taken yourself out. You didn't have to go after the kids. Not, like, all three of them, by the way. I believe the oldest was, like, 9 months old. There was a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. Why did you have to go after the kids? Like, if you wanted to jump off of that 2-story, because she jumped off of, the house, like 2-story house or whatever. She jumped off and she broke her back, I believe, and she had sort of injury from that as well. And that's why she's paralyzed from the neck down, or from the waist down, I believe. Why would you have to target the kids? So I don't buy that whole psychosis BS as being the valid excuse. I think it's a horrible excuse. Anyway, let's get into our first guest for the stream.
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on with the Air Force?
Sorry, what you say?
I said, what's going on with the Air Force?
I think Islam belongs in America, man. And
You
I
think it
also
belongs in America?
Yeah, 100%.
Interesting. So, like, would you say that people wearing niqabs in Dearborn, Michigan resembles America?
No, it doesn't resemble America, but again, America is a mixing pot, right? So
A mixing pot or a melting pot?
melting pot. My fault.
Okay.
A melting pot, right? So
What country do you come from, by the way? Ancestrally speaking?
Sudan and Egypt.
Sudan and Egypt. Are those countries melting pots as well?
Yes, they are.
They are? So in Egypt, for example, a Christian person can proselytize openly and freely without having to deal with persecution from Muslims?
Currently, yes.
Really? So why do Coptic Christians in Egypt, for example, then face their churches being burned whenever they want to open up new churches in Egypt?
So that is a complete lie. Now,
It's a complete lie that Coptic Christians have their churches burned by Muslims in Egypt?
No,
I can just bring up an article about this. It's not something you... Like, this is going to be a horrible hill for you to die on.
Hold on. You don't gotta yell. Right?
Yeah.
In Cairo, in the city of Cairo, right, there are multiple churches available for Catholic or...
I never said there weren't churches. You're misunderstanding me. I'm not saying that there aren't any churches for Coptic Christians. I'm saying that when Coptic Christians seek to build more and new churches in Egypt, some of them get desecrated by Muslims and get burned down. Do you agree that Coptic Christians have had their churches burned down by Muslims in Egypt? Do you agree that that's true?
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, that's what I was saying. Now, can a Muslim person, can a Christian person, for example, be in the upper echelon of the Egyptian government?
I've never seen a Christian person in the upper echelon of the Egyptian government.
What about the Saudi Arabian government?
I'm not from Saudi Arabia, so I wouldn't know.
Well, it's a Muslim country. This is the birthplace of Islam. That was it was the birthplace of Islam in Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah, but again, majority of people in Saudi Arabia are Muslim.
I agree, and this is where the two holy cities of Mecca and Medina are. Yet, if you're a Christian, you can't be a member of the Saudi Arabian government. Nor are you really recognized, nor can you build any churches. Never mind in Mecca, Medina, you can't build one in Riyadh even.
Yes, you cannot.
Okay. Well, the problem that I have is the fact that you're saying, well, America's a melting pot in which anybody can bring any idea here, and it's supposed to be welcome. But Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Sudan are not melting pots. Seems like a contradiction.
So Sudan has a lot of Christians in it. You know that, right?
What percent of Sudan is Christian?
I believe it's over 30% ish. Now, you correct me if I'm wrong. Are you talking about South Sudan or North Sudan? South Sudan is majority Christian. North Sudan
I'm talking about Sudan, which is what you said originally. You said Sudan, right?
Yeah,
They're about 5.4%, dude. They're pretty low.
North or South?
There's no North Sudan. There's just Sudan and South Sudan.
Yes.
I'm talking about Sudan.
Yeah. Okay, Sudan and South Sudan, right?
I'm talking about what you originally brought up, which was Sudan.
Okay, Sudan, yes. Okay, so what was your thing about that?
5.4%. and they're also heavily persecuted, and their government is all Muslim.
They're heavily prosecuted.
Can you talk a little louder, please, too, so people can hear you better?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. So you said they're heavily prosecuted in Sudan?
Yeah, they're heavily persecuted.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. Every Muslim country, every predominantly Muslim country, every predominantly Muslim country in the Middle East and in Africa, by the way, with a Christian minority, that Christian minority faces heavy prosecution or persecution.
So you're telling me in Sudan, where I grew up,
yes,
or I didn't grow up, but I lived there a lot, many years of my life.
How many years were you in Sudan?
I was there for 3 years.
Have you been back since?
I used to go back every year, once a year.
But you've only lived there for 3 years, correct?
I lived there personally for 3 years, but then I come back everywhere. I can't go back anymore because there's a war going on. But besides my point.
Name a single Christian politician in Sudan that is notable.
There isn't Christian politicians in Sudan.
Okay, interesting.
Now, again, back to my claim, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said they were persecuted, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
So you said the majority of the human population or the Muslim population were persecuting Christians, right?
No, not what I claim. I didn't say the majority of the Muslim population was persecuting Christians. What I said was that in every Muslim majority country with a Christian minority, the Christian minority always faces persecution. That is objectively true.
Let's talk about Sudan and Sudan only. Let's talk about Sudan, and the rest.
Yeah, in Sudan also. I mean, we can go to Open Doors. Open Doors is a Christian organization that looks at Christian persecution all over the Middle East and the world, and Sudan is certainly on that list.
Okay, can you bring the article, please? Because
I have no problem with showing it to you. Yeah. I mean, I can just look up articles like Sudanese. I bet you I'm going to find one, right? Sudanese Christians, persecution, and then we're going to find a bunch of ones, right? And of course, Open Doors was the first source that comes up, but I just put it on the screen, right? Here it is. Christians in Sudan face severe and rising persecution driven by the ongoing civil war and a long-standing push for Islamic dominance, with the country ranked fourth worst globally on the Open Doors World Watch list. And so I mentioned Open Doors. Open Doors is a Christian organization that looks at Christian persecution all over the Middle East. Now, the only country that's not on that list, by the way, in the Middle East is Israel. Apart from that, every other country is flagged for persecuting Christians.
Okay.
Well, this is what I'm gonna believe the Christians when it comes to this, not anybody else, right? And so
you're Christian, right?
Talks about this is what do you mean? I'm believing the Christians because they're actually Christian. They're the ones reporting this. I would believe the Sudanese or the Buddhist if they're Buddhist, right? I'm believing what they're talking about. And so it reads here: the situation for Christians in Sudan has long been difficult, but right now the Christian community in Sudan is currently going through a severe, growing crisis in population displacement. Okay? And so
just like everybody else.
On top of that, the government reinstated oppressive figures, brought back cruel morality policies, and is using old Islamic laws to justify forcing people to convert or endure physical punishment. This has completely undone the advances in religious freedom made after the oppressive al-Bashir regime was overthrown in 2021. And so,
yes. Hold on.
Objectively speaking, they are heavily persecuted. They face forced conversions.
And nobody that stands for Sudan agrees with the government. What now?
Doesn't matter if they don't agree with the government.
No. Literally, that government that you're doing, you just showed right now. The government you just shown is not just persecuting Muslims. I'm sorry, Christians. They're prosecuting everybody that they don't believe in their belief, in a sense.
What is their Islamic belief that they don't agree with, that people don't agree with, or whatever?
It's not an Islamic. Forcing people to become Christian. They don't believe in that. All those Sudanese people do not believe in that. That is haram in Islamic beliefs. You cannot force a person to become Muslim.
But forced conversions are happening. Yes or no?
They are, and
that's the point.
Supposed to happen, and they're not supposed to happen.
That's fine. They're happening. They're happening nevertheless.
And I condemn that.
That's great, but your condemnation does not change the actual situation on the ground. I'm sorry.
And every single Muslim will condemn that.
But see, this is to touch back on my point with Islam does not work in America.
Okay.
And my point is in which you said America's a melting pot. Okay, that's fine. But the issue is that Muslims can come to America and impose their own ways of life. They can impose their own attire, their own culture, their own, even their main language, which is Arabic, by the way. And Americans are supposed to be welcoming when it comes to that. But when Christian Americans or Buddhist Americans or when Jewish Americans go to Muslim nations, they are not given the same rights, the same abilities, the same freedom. And that's a problem.
You want to know why?
Yeah, because you guys don't actually believe in that whole melting pot pot stuff.
No,
that's just something you guys say.
America advertises itself as the land of the free. You can
so it shouldn't anymore then, right? So it just shouldn't anymore? Let's how about America not just advocate, well, okay, the land of the free would certainly not apply to the Islamic world. I'm sorry. The Islamic world is not the Islamic world is not a free world. So when we're talking about the land of the free, do you know what that actually means? Let me tell you what the land of the free means. The reason why the land of the free is a phrase in American society is because American revolutionaries fought against the British Empire and fought against the British monarchy. Thomas Paine specifically talks about how he believes monarchy is oppressive and how he believes that is authoritarianism and how he believes it's tyranny. And so Americanism was built off of republicanism, having a presidential form of governance, right? And so on. So when they're talking about the land of the free, how the hell would that apply to Islam or Muslim or Muslim nations? It just wouldn't apply because Muslim nations don't believe in those values.
Perfect. Forget the Muslim thing. Let's go to America real quick, right?
Sure.
America advertised itself not just of the land of the free, right? To practice whatever belief that you want to believe. Is that correct or not?
Well, yeah, there's freedom of religion, generally speaking, but I believe Islam goes beyond that.
Why does Islam go beyond that?
Because Islam, it's not just about practicing Islam, it's the fact that Islam serves as an imposition to society. That's the thing. Like, Buddhists in America typically don't cause problems. You know, people that believe in Confucianism, for example, they don't actually cause problems in America because Buddhism is not a religion that sees itself in a militant, jihadist, imposition type of way where you ought to live in this particular way. It doesn't see itself that way. Islam does, which is where the difference is.
So you're telling me Islam sees itself as a jihadist way, as a military way?
Well, of course. Well, of course it does.
And why is that?
What did Muhammad do throughout his lifetime? Was he not a warmonger? Was he not a person that led armies?
I love this. Do you know?
Was he or was he not? Can you answer my question?
Yes, he went to war, 100%.
Okay, for what cause?
Because he was being attacked because he was being raided by his own people.
Wait, so that's it? He never went beyond Saudi Arabia?
Oh, of course he went to beyond Saudi Arabia.
Okay, so it was not just about being attacked. It was also about going on the offensive, right?
Yes, he went on the offensive for other Muslims. Again,
sure.
Against the same tribe that fought him in the beginning. If you don't know a story, don't say it. You can search this out.
Well, I do. You guys complained a lot about the polytheists. I know that for a fact, but it doesn't change the fact that there was the Muslim conquest or the Arab conquest of the 7th century, which was obviously pronounced because of the religion of Islam, and that you guys also tried to conquer Western Europe and failed, and you guys conquered a decent part of the Middle East, including the Levant. That is objectively true.
Okay, but you brought up Muhammad. You said
yes, and Muhammad waged wars in the name of Islam. That is objectively true.
You're telling me every single war that can you name through?
Not saying every single war. No, hold on, stop. You're doing another straw man argument where you guys always like to conflate what I'm actually saying. I'm not saying every single war, but I'm saying he was a warmonger, right? He waged war and he fought battles, right? I'm not saying he didn't fight battles or some battles that may be justified because Muslims felt like they were being persecuted, whatever. That's totally fine, but he did wage wars. And when we talk about Islamic militant groups like ISIS and Hezbollah and the Houthis, for example.
Funded by Israel. Keep going.
Yeah, wait, ISIS is funded by Israel?
Yeah, 100%. Bro.
Okay, what's your evidence? Okay, really quickly. Lay out for me right now. Hold on. No. Stop. No. Stop. I know you guys love to make the claim, but never like getting pressured on the claim. Hold on. I know you guys love to make the claim, but never like getting pressured on the claim. So let's make sure we go ahead and get to this, right? Hold on. Let's make sure we go ahead and get to this. In 20 seconds, explain to me your direct evidence, your unequivocal evidence of ISIS
I don't have any
being
evidence.
funded by Israel. Go ahead.
I don't have any evidence. I told you this. I don't have any evidence. It's just my claim. I
Yeah,
can
so
have
a
evidence
claim without evidence, sir. A claim without evidence. A claim without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. Okay, if you do not believe in evidentiary substantiation for your claims, you shouldn't be making it. That's the whole point of me believing in something. I believe in something for reasons, for said reasons.
Okay.
I don't believe in something
All right.
just because of magic.
All right. I'm not glad you got me there.
Why did you believe that? By the way, phenomenal. Thank you for the gift, and thank you for the Panther and stuff.
Why
as
do
well.
I believe in it?
Yeah.
I hear a lot of people talk about it. I haven't really done any research about it. So and listen, is not just Muslims that are saying it's
So you're saying that the reason why you regurgitated the myth
honestly,
that ISIS is funded by Israel is because you heard other people say it. I can give you some
yeah, I'm
some
being
praise
honest.
for admitting that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not considering a lie.
Thank you
to
for the meteor shower. Phenomenal. Yep.
I'm not considering a lie to you. There's no point. I don't know you. Don't know me. I'm being honest.
Perfect.
Right?
I praise you for admitting it.
All right. So, but if I do this research and I do come back with more research, you got to back up the claim, though, right? If there is,
If you're able to back, I mean, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to be able to back up that claim that ISIS is funded by Israel or that Hezbollah is funded by Israel, which, by the way, these things are contradictory. ISIS has attacked Israel. Hezbollah has attacked Israel. The Houthis have attacked Israel. It would make no sense for Israel to be the ones funding their own attackers. Well, people say, well, they're using that to like expand, and my question would be like, what, expand into Yemen? Like, do we know geography? How would Israel ever expand into Yemen? They'd first have to go through Saudi Arabia, and how, like, it doesn't make any sense. Hey, Hezbollah, let me fund you so you can disrupt global maritime trade, and so that you can continue to attack me with rockets for no reason. Like, that doesn't make any sense, like, at all. It doesn't.
I'll give it to you. It doesn't make any sense. I get that one to you. But let's go back to the Muhammad thing. You said majority. Now, clear me if I'm wrong, right?
Never said majority. You're putting words in my mouth. I just said that he actually fought wars.
At least one war was not, in a sense, it was conquering, in a sense, right?
Yeah, sure. I don't deny that polytheists were also like attacking him and fighting against the Muslims. I'm not denying that.
Okay. So you're telling me at least one war where he went on the offensive and just straight up attacked with no reason whatsoever. Is that right?
Well, he had. This is the thing. You can make up reasons for attacking people. You can make up reasons, like whether or not the reasons are good reasons is the question. Like, you can always bring up a reason to attack somebody. You can call them you can call them a kuffar and attack them, like ISIS, for example. That's a reason. That's not a good one or a valid one.
Mind you, I condemn ISIS. Hell no.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
Yeah, because they at this point they're doing some bullshit.
By the way, where do they get their ideology from?
Oh, they get it from Shia beliefs.
ISIS is a Sunni group. What are you talking about?
Shia. They're
Sunni. ISIS is Sunni.
They're Shia.
You're Muslim, dude. If I looked it up, am I going to be correct or am I going to be wrong?
I mean, if you look it up, go ahead.
ISIS is Sunni. Do we agree?
I believe they're Shia.
This is such a silly conversation.
In the end,
ISIS is objectively Sunni, dude. I don't know what you're lying about.
In the end, they still get their radical beliefs from Islam. I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, they get it from Islam. Okay.
Yeah, but Islam doesn't teach those radical beliefs.
So wait, hold on. They're getting it from Islam, but Islam doesn't teach it.
No.
That's a contradiction.
I'm saying
how are you getting an ideology from a particular religion, but that religion does not teach that ideology?
No. They're claiming that that ideology is in that religion, but
no. Wait, you said that they get it from Islam. You didn't say that they merely claim they got it from Islam. You said that they.
That was on me. I meant to say it was claim.
Got it from Islam.
Claim.
You were being honest. Now you're doing taqiya on me.
No, man. I'm being honest, man. I listen, bro. I don't bullshit, bro. I'm trying my best not to bullshit.
Okay.
Now, Muhammad, can you name at least one war or two wars that Muhammad fought in? The names.
Well, yeah, in Mecca, he also fought wars in Medina. I'm not going to have the exact year on hand.
No. Of course, not the year, just the name. You should know the names. The war of Mecca. There was a battle of Mecca. There's a name to it. It's not called the Battle of Mecca.
Okay, there may be a particular different name. I mean, there's Arabic names for stuff. There's English names for stuff. There's different ones.
I mean, if you're bringing up like, oh, he was conquering, or at one. Yeah,
objectively he was. Like, dude, do you know what year What actual year was the seventh? Well, hold on. What year was the 7th century?
What year was the 7th century?
Yeah.
I honestly do not know that. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Wait, how do you not know that?
I don't know.
What year do you think the 7th century would be?
1700s? I don't know. I mean, that's what I don't know. I'll be honest.
Well, that was not supposed to be a gotcha, by the way. The point of me bringing that up would be that the 7th century would be the year 600, okay, AD. And that's the same year where Islam started spreading right after Muhammad. And he did objectively fight battles and wars. Now, obviously, I don't believe he himself was all up in Egypt and stuff like that. But according to you guys, he made his way to Jerusalem. I don't know how he did that without battling with anybody, right? Because the majority of Jerusalem back then would have probably been Christian at that time period, right? Or just the general Levant region would have been pretty Christian at that time period. So how did he get, out of genuine curiosity, did he fight? Because do you agree that the Quran says that he made his way to Jerusalem?
Yeah, he did make.
Okay, how did he get there without fighting offensive battles?
He rode what you guys say, a donkey. That flies. That's literally what it said.
Oh my God. Okay, so he got to Jerusalem, not through any offensive wars or battles, but because he just flew a donkey there.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you believe that?
That's what the Quran says. I believe whatever the Quran says.
So if you believe any, so when the Quran, for example, talks about how semen comes from the backbone and the ribs, do you believe that?
So much. All right,
Do you believe that?
Pull it up. Pull it up.
Yeah, I can pull it up right now. Just give me a second. This guy says I believe
up.
whatever the Quran says. Yeah, he just flew.
Yeah.
He just flew to Jerusalem. Yeah. By the way, I want to before we get this, I want to ask you another question. Just really quick question. Muhammad was a prophet, right?
Yes, he was a prophet. I dared to bring up.
Okay.
I know
so do you agree that prophets fulfill prophecies, typically speaking?
Mm-hmm.
What was the prophecy of Muhammad? Like, what was he supposed to fulfill? Like, what was his actual prophethood based upon?
To bring the Quran down and to reveal it to the Ummah.
But he didn't actually reveal the Quran. Gabriel did.
Yeah, but his message he was giving the message out. It's not like Gabriel went to every single human being. I mean, he could have. And
okay, let's not focus on. Let me get you the actual verse.
So can you agree that I was right on that one? That you did fulfill prophecy?
No, not really. I don't really buy that, to be honest with you. But let me pull this up.
You gotta buy it. That's what the Quran says.
Yeah, I don't think the Quran is like a good source for things, dude. I'm sorry.
And I also don't think
because it tells us that semen comes from the backbone and the ribs. By the way, do you think it does? Just before we get this verse out.
In that specific embryonic stage, yes, it does.
Semen comes from the backbone and the ribs?
No, not semen. Semen comes from your nutsacks. From the Testament.
Okay.
But if you read the verse and just click on the
so let's go ahead and bring it up. Let's go ahead and bring it up so people can see exactly what we're talking about. Okay.
Click the number 1 right next to it, if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, let's start with this, right? So 86.6. Okay. So it says here, 80. Let's start with 86.5 and let's go to 86.6 and so on. Okay. Let people consider what they were created from. They were created from a spurting fluid. What is that spurting fluid? Do you agree it's semen?
Just keep reading.
Do you agree that the spurting fluid is semen?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. 86.7. Stemming from backbone. Stemming from between the backbone and the rib cage. Do you agree that it says this as well?
That's what it says. Now click the number 1 right next to it.
I can just click to this tafsir, which is the explanation for it.
No, okay. It's way easier if you.
No, why don't I just? I just want to read the tafsir, the explanation for it.
Read the number 1.
It just talks about what it was recited from.
Yeah, just click the number 1. The number 1 is the summarization of the tafsir, and it gives you things. Just click number 1 right.
Okay. Testes and ovaries are formed in the abdomen of the fetus during the first. Oh, my thing closed out. Hold on. Okay. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so testes and ovaries are formed in the abdomen. Yeah, this is a footnote that's added to it. That's not what the Quran says. It's a footnote. It's an edited footnote. It's not what the actual Quran says.
Yes, the Quran says this, but the
this is an added footnote, but it says testes and ovaries are formed in the abdomen of the fetus during the first weeks of pregnancy before descending to their permanent place in the pelvis. Both are sustained by arteries originating between the backbone and the rib cage. Right?
This was
But this is what you're not understanding. What the Quran says is not even what this footnote says, which makes it even more embarrassing, by the way.
That's what the footnote says.
Okay, I don't think you understand. It talks about testes and ovaries formed in the abdomen of the fetus during the first weeks of pregnancy. That's not the same. That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing as saying spurting fluid. That's not the same thing as saying spurting fluid comes from the backbone and the ribs. Those are two different things.
So it quite literally is. So spurting fluid is what?
Semen, as we've already agreed.
We already agreed on. Where does semen come from?
The testes, not the backbone and the ribs.
Okay. What does that footnote say?
It says testes and ovaries are formed. It doesn't talk about spurting fluid there.
If it's talking, okay, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for y'all. Do you know what a footnote is? Actually, no. Let's follow up this question.
Yeah, I don't think you understand, dude. This is so. I don't think you understand. And by the way, they didn't even help with this silly footnote, which is even more embarrassing. I know you guys like to edit your things and add things so you can try to change it and make it seem normal.
We cannot talk about
but this footnote. So I'm curious. When the Quran was written, was this silly footnote there?
No, because it was.
Okay, when did this footnote get added here?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, of course. The footnote didn't exist here at all. Okay. So it was later added because everyone realized how stupid this sounded.
No, it was later added to show you what other scholars believed and what it is.
Oh, what other scholars believed it must have been, because this doesn't make any logical sense. Got it.
Hold on. And the summarization of the tafsir.
Yeah, the tafsir doesn't say this at all, actually, at all. But do you agree do you agree that semen does not come from the backbone and the ribs? Do you agree that that's just not true?
Does semen come from the backbone and the ribs? In this specific context, it does. But in general, it does not.
Wait. So it doesn't, right?
In this specific context, it does. In general,
but semen doesn't come from the... Jesus Christ. Where does semen originate from? Look that up for me.
The testicles, bro. I'm in medical school. I know
male testicles. Okay, perfect. Are the male testicles the backbone or the ribs?
In embryonic stages, it is formed behind the backbone and the ribs. In the embryonic stage, you just search it up for me, if you would like.
I don't think you understand.
In embryonic stages, the testicles. When the baby is in the stomach...
Semen is a fluid made up of sperm from the testicles combined with fluids from the prostate gland and seminal vesicles, okay? Uh-huh. It's produced in the testes inside tiny tubes called seminifero. You should actually know how to pronounce this better. So... Nowhere, it says like early development, 1 to 4 weeks. The early embryo implants in the uterus and undergoes basic cell division, forming the initial germ layers. At this stage, the reproductive organs are not yet formed. So 1 to 4 weeks, it says that you're in medical school. In 1 to 4 weeks, are the reproductive organs formed?
No, they're not.
What do you define as first few weeks?
First few weeks of what?
Like, if I said the first few weeks of X, what would that be numerically?
Well, a few weeks would be at least a month.
Okay, perfect. Well, no, that's not true. A few weeks can be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, right?
At maximum, it can be a month. Or
a maximum. Oh, hold on, a maximum month. So when it actually comes to embryology, the footnote here says testes and ovaries are formed in the abdomen of the fetus during the first weeks of pregnancy. That is not true.
Yes, it is.
It isn't.
It is.
Brother,
Yo,
let's look at let's go. Let's just do this really quick. Our testes and organs, or reproductive organs, right? Hold on. Organs formed in the first few weeks
Of what?
an embryo.
Embryonic stage.
No, fully formed testes and reproductive organs are not present in the first
Fully
few weeks of
formed.
an embryo. Instead,
Exactly.
the reproductive system starts
You're
as an
already failing out of
identical,
medical school?
undifferentiated structure. So it disagrees with you.
Fully. It says fully.
Yeah, it says if an embryo has a... Yeah, it doesn't say that.
Fully.
It says weeks 10 to 12, the newly formed testes begin producing testosterone around week 10. The Quran is still wrong.
The Quran. You mean the footnote's wrong or the Quran's wrong?
Now the footnote is separate from the Quran. Now you want to separate the two?
Right.
Now you want to separate the
Hold on.
two?
No, hold on.
Okay, get out of here.
says-
Get out of here. You're
hold on.
silly. You're dropping my IQ. You're dropping my IQ. Get out of here, dude. Dude, by the way, he responded to the verse that I brought up with bringing up the footnote. And then when I bring up the fact that the footnote contradicts embryology, he's like, well, the footnote wrong or is the Quran wrong? Well, what? Like, dude, these Muslims, man, like, you guys have to honestly get smarter. This is so stupid, man. This is honestly so stupid. Okay, let's bring up the next person. Hopefully they're smarter than the last guy, because that was just horrible. What's up? What do you have for us?
Nothing much. I just wanted to know the overall grudge against Islam, or your main issue with it, like your opinion on it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the religion. I'm not a fan of how Islam governs its societies in terms of Sharia or jurisprudence. I think it's awful. I'm not a fan of the child marriage. And I do not believe any of it is compatible with Western civilization.
Right. I'm from Abu Dhabi, from the UAE, and
Okay.
I feel like especially the Gulf countries like Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, I think they do a good job in interpreting, like, how do you say it? Creating it into the modern world, not like
Modernizing
we have
Islam?
Yeah, modernizing, because I think that not in the sense of modernizing, because there's certain rules of it that you can't use it. You're talking about a book that came 1400 years ago.
Reforming it,
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, of course the society changes and the way we live, but I feel like in the modern aspect, overall, I mean, drugs is illegal here, alcohol, crime rate is very low, and we have a big 10% of the population in the UAE is 10 to 11, I think, is Christian, and I think the Muslim.
No, I think it's lower than
population in
that. But the only reason it's lower than that. But I think it's also good to acknowledge the fact that those are expatriates. Those are people that are there for work temporarily on a visa, and many of them get stuck there because they get their passports confiscated and stuff, and they're forced to work manual labor there. But that's the only reason why there are Christians there. It's not like those Christians are in the government or have voting power or have any political say. It's nothing like that. It's the fact that those people are from Christian countries and they go to the UAE or go to Qatar to temporarily work, right?
Right, but
right. So so just saying that your 11% of your population is Christian is like that is a disingenuous way to phrase it, because people are thinking, oh, these are people from the UAE that were born there, raised there, or people that have citizenship, voting power, and stuff like that, and that is not true.
Right, but 1% of American population is Muslim. Like it's less than 1%.
Yeah, but
so
the 1% is
the
our
threat?
majority. The majority of the 1% that you're talking about are Muslims who have citizenship in America, who are mayors in America, who are in the U.S. House of Representatives, and who are, for example, the mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. And so there's a big difference between Muslims that are citizens in a country, that have full equal rights in a country, that are part of the government, and purely just having people that have a foreign religion that come to work in your country temporarily and then go back. Two different things.
Right.
It's like
but-
you're
but
basically saying,
America-
well, we have manual labor workers that temporarily come to Qatar or the UAE that happen to be Christian or Buddhists or Hindus. It's like, okay, yeah, but they're there temporarily.
Right, but they were voted there. I mean, as much as you don't like Zoran Mamdani, if you want him out, you're going against the constitution. I mean,
I'm not
it-
disagreeing that he was voted in.
right. So with the fact that he's Muslim, we sort of had to deal with it. I just don't understand.
I'm not even
this
bringing that up
concept
as a
of-
problem. I'm just bringing him
No,
up
no.
as an example of you being disingenuous by saying that 11%. By the way, it's not even that high. But you saying
No,
that,
it is.
well,
You can check
yeah, but it's
yourself.
not that high, at least in Qatar, right? But you saying that, well, a percentage of our population in the Gulf countries are Christian. Yeah, but they're not citizens. They're just there on temporary visas. They're not even refugees. They're
You
there
just
on
said-
temporary visas to work and go home after being paid. Hopefully, if they don't randomly die or if their passports aren't confiscated, which happens to them a lot, by the way.
No, it doesn't. The kafala system is gone, by the way, a long time. It's been abolished.
Yeah,
I
we
don't-
hear
I don't
all of
think
these
we're-
new reports that don't suggest that.
All of the new reports. Do you live here?
I don't have to live there in order to have what?
Right,
What
but-
kind of a point is
you
that? I don't
don't-
have
you
to
don't
live
really-
there
you
to
don't really
know
understand.
that I've
No,
read
it's because
reports about the UAE
read
and
report-
Qatar and how many of the foreign migrant workers that are there get their passports confiscated and have very harsh and tough working conditions. And many
you
of them
can go to
also
the-
unexpectedly die.
My friend, the Ministry of Labor is on every street. You go there, there's a shit ton of people who complain, and immediately the business gets shut down, bro. I don't understand this whole. There's ministries for that. There's ministries of labor, literally on every corner street, on every. Sure, but you're saying that their passwords get confiscated. Sure, yes, it happens, right? And it's an awful thing. And it's illegal. Like on the premise, it is illegal. It is not something that's tolerated.
I'm not even going to
here.
fight you on it. I'm just saying it does happen, and those Christians are not citizens of that country. They have no legal power in that country, really, and they are only there to temporarily.
Neither do me. Neither do me.
Conduct
I mean,
labor.
if I don't like anyone, I can't vote. Like it's a royal family. It's a sheikh, and I can't. I don't know. Neither do me. I mean, I don't have.
Yeah,
any
but you
voting.
have certain rights that those Christians don't have because you're actually a
What
citizen
is-
of the country.
What is my rights? What is my right?
Are you not
I
a
have
citizen of the
freedom-
UAE?
I am. My father's from the UAE. But what's it? What like?
Okay, great. You get to
what-
live there. You get to actually live there permanently, and no one can randomly expel you from the country.
Yeah, half of the Europeans, they have golden visas. They can go in and leave whenever they want. I mean, but you're saying what rights do I have more than anyone? If he has the right to
Well,
go
yeah, you can
practice his
proselytize
religion.
about Islam all you want to as well. The Christians can't do that. By the way,
Right,
thank you
but
for the
we're
$20 super
deflecting.
chat. Kristen, thank you for the $20 super chat and the strong arms. I appreciate that. Yeah, so
We're talking about Islam.
the
and you're
difference
deflecting
is the
about
fact
UAE.
that they can you in the UAE go around handing out Qurans? Is that illegal for you to do?
Yes,
It's illegal for you to go around handing people Qurans?
yes. You can't just make a stall and preach about Islam. No, you cannot.
Who
Or
will
any,
stop
any
you?
religion. The ministry. You're not allowed to do that.
I'm not allowed to spread Islam in the UAE.
No, you're not.
I'm not
Only
allowed to
legalized
hand.
mosques.
I'm not. If I'm a Muslim in the UAE, you're telling me I'm not allowed to give a fellow Muslim a Quran?
Oh my God! Yeah, I just shows you how ignorant you are. No, you're not allowed. You
Okay,
go in
let
a
me.
place
Let's
like
go ahead and
Dubai-
ask. Maybe I'm wrong, right?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Am
You are
I
an
allowed
uneducated.
to spread Islam in the UAE?
No, he said hand out Qurans. What is it?
Because you guys are Sunni, so let's put Sunni Islam in the UAE.
No. What does it say? I'll tell you, it's illegal.
Oh, so you have to get government approval to do it, but you can still do it.
No, you can't, man.
Yeah,
you're
it just
not
says you have to.
reading the law.
It says including
No,
informal
no.
Islamic teachers or lectures without
My
government
friend,
official
my
government approval
friend,
or licensing.
I'll tell you, no bullshit. I'll tell you, right? You're not allowed to create a stall on public place. Doesn't matter if it's.
That's
anywhere. It
fine.
could be-
Okay, that may be true,
Right.
but it says all public religious discourse, sermons, and lectures are tightly
It's
controlled
illegal.
and vetted by state bodies like the General Authority of Islamic Affairs and Endowments. right? And so if you
Right.
go ahead and go through them, you can then do it.
No, you cannot. You can only do it in a mosque, which you go to, which you need a license to preach in a mosque.
By the
right?
way,
It's
it
called
also
khutbah.
goes on to say
But
anti-discrimination
not
and
in
hate
public.
laws. Under federal decree law number 34, unauthorized preaching of disseminating unapproved religious literature can be prosecuted as an offense against state-regulated religious practices.
You just said that do I have the right to go knock on some random guy's door and say, hey, I want you to convert to Islam? That's illegal, my friend. You can do that.
Oh, okay,
in
that's
America.
totally okay. That's totally fine. Okay, that's totally fine.
Yeah, but it just
but
shows
it's
you
still
you're
vetted
ignorant.
by the government. It's still vetted by the
What
government.
do you mean?
still.
It's illegal across the board. It's illegal.
I'm saying
across
that
the
you
board.
can go through governmental means to do it. You can get credentialed imams, for example, and they can deliver sermons in official mosques and so
you
on and so forth.
cannot. In a mosque, the same way as in a church. Any Christian can go preach whatever he wants in his local church in Dubai or in Abu Dhabi or.
Can he
or in
ask
Sharjah
Muslims to
or
come?
Yes, my friend. You're ignorant. You don't know what you're talking about.
He can
probably never
ask
left
Muslims
America.
to come. Yeah, BS. Yeah, I
You
call
probably
BS
never
on
left
that.
America. That's why.
I call
You probably
BS
never
on
left
that.
America.
I call BS on that. He
Sure,
can invite.
sure.
He can invite Abdul and Muhammad to come to the church.
Yeah, we have
and
freedom
pray.
of religion. Yeah. Yeah,
You
we have
guys
freedom of
don't
religion.
have freedom over. You're saying you have freedom of religion in the UAE?
You just said everyone can preach about the Quran whenever they like to, and I called you bullshit on that because you don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
you can
No
hand
one
someone
can-
you can hand someone a Quran. They're not
No,
going to
you
arrest
cannot.
you for that. Yes,
No,
you
you
can.
cannot.
They're not going to arrest
You
you
mean
for
in
that.
private?
Yes.
In private?
Well, of course you
Like in
can. In
private or in
private,
public?
handing
You just
someone a
said in
Quran. Of
public.
course you can.
You just said in public. You just said in public.
Yeah, they
that I
just
can
want
create
things to
a
be
stall.
more They want things to be more institutionalized, so the government has more control. That's not a better argument for you.
Brother. You're only allowed to preach your religion, whether it's Christian or whatever, in your designated spot, right?
And you're
So
allowed to
meaning,
invite
if you
people
go
to come
Yeah,
if they're Muslim too.
yeah. Muslims
Okay.
tour churches here all the time. Yeah, sure.
Muslims go to Christian churches there all the time.
Yeah.
Can you give me some articles about that?
What do you mean? Give you some articles of Muslim touring churches?
Just
It's
touring
here,
the
I've seen
churches
it.
or going and attending those churches?
They can go in, attend whatever they want, whatever the hell they want. Bro. And see, this is your ignorance. You just said that I can create a stall and preach about Islam wherever I want. I told you it's illegal. You're like, no, that's not illegal. In your Muslim country, that. And then you found out you're bullshitting.
How about we
Then you
pop it up on the
deflected.
screen? How about we pop
Then
it
you
up on the
deflected.
screen? I'm deflecting, right? Proselytizing by non-Muslims is strictly illegal in the United Arab Emirates and carries severe
Same thing with
penalties.
Islam. Same thing Islam. I cannot convert a Christian to Islam. It's illegal for me. You do realize.
Okay, let's see if it says the same thing about how it's strictly illegal.
All religions, my friend. All religions.
Let's see if it says the same thing it said before. Right, in the UAE, proselytizing Muslims or attempting to convert. You see how even when I say UAE Muslims proselytizing Christians, it still says proselytizing Muslims
keep
or attempting
quiet,
to
bro.
convert
Keep
them.
quiet. See, what does it say? Strictly forbidden and illegal.
Yeah, it
See,
says
for
it's strictly
both.
forbidden for Muslims.
Right.
No, yeah.
it's for
in the
everyone,
United
bro.
States of
You just-
in the United Arab Emirates, proselytizing Muslims or attempting to convert Muslims to another faith is strictly forbidden and illegal.
My friend,
Muslims,
for
not
all
Christians.
religions.
Muslims.
My friend, for all religions, it's illegal.
Doesn't say that.
Right?
Islam
You
is the
can't preach
constitutional. Islam
Brother.
is the constitutional state religion of the UAE.
Yes, culturally, meaning you can't just go
Oh,
into a random store.
culturally. Oh, culturally.
Yeah, culturally. So we don't have.
It's,
What is
do you
our
think?
primary?
Do you think
Check-
it's just
check the primary.
cultural? Do you think it's just cultural when it's constitutional? The constitutional state religion. That's culture. That's
because
just
it's
culture.
Yeah, because I walk on the streets and I don't need to get scared that someone might pew me in the back. Yeah. It's a
Congratulations.
surprise somewhere. Right. Our crime rate is the lowest in the world. Right. So it works.
That good for you. I don't care.
Okay. What the hell are you saying? Like the
Just stay
Constitution
there.
is-
That's all. Just stay there and live there, and that's good.
We are there. I am here. What the fuck are you saying?
Good. Good. I don't have an issue with that.
Sure, but what is the 1% in America changing the whole goddamn country about the Constitution and all of this? Muslims are 1%, 1% of the population.
What about when you guys get to 30% or
and they're
20%?
90% of the media, huh?
Who's 90% of the media?
You're Muslims. All I hear. That's all I hear, man.
Actually, that's not true, but people do talk about
What is?
Islamic terrorism, and people
Brother.
talk about how. Let me ask you a question. Is it legally required, mostly speaking, for you guys in public spaces to wear the attire that you guys wear?
What, abaya or regal or what is it?
Yeah, the Islamic attire you guys wear.
No. It's not. No.
So I can just go around so you can go around wearing jeans tomorrow outside in public, and that's totally fine.
Yeah. There
are no strict
Yeah.
dress codes in the UAE at all for you.
There's modesty codes, but there's no
modesty
like,
codes.
Yeah, modesty, but the hijab itself, no, you don't have to wear it. No.
Can you go out there and wear a skirt?
A skirt? Yeah, I've seen girls in skirts. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but you're talking about people that are probably visiting and stuff, but you can't do it, can you? You can't just go around wearing jeans and pants tomorrow, right?
Me? Yeah, I can, bro. Bro, I just wear a polo shirt.
But it's funny how you're
I'm good.
contradicting the laws. Do you guys not have police there?
No, we're not. That just shows your ignorance, man.
Can I wear? Hold on. In the UAE, can citizens? Hold on. Can citizens wear Western clothes in public?
Bro, I never realized you were this ignorant, to be fair.
Okay. As long as the clothing is modest. Let's bring it up. So it turns out I'm right again. You can wear some clothes in public in the UAE as long as the clothing is modest. Cover up your shoulders and knees. Oh, you have to cover up your shoulder and knees. Okay. Do not wear extremely tight clothing, transparent fabrics, or shirts with offensive words.
You're ignorant, my friend.
So, yeah.
You're
See,
very ignorant.
at hotel pools or private beaches, you can wear bikinis.
I'm not allowed to wear jeans.
So in private places.
I'm not allowed to wear jeans. You just said I'm not allowed to wear
look at
jeans.
this. Yeah, I'm just sorry. You're wrong. You guys don't go around wearing jeans because you know that it's not. Okay, I can literally look at the dress code right now. This is dress code for
You're so
tourists.
uneducated. You're so I advise you to take your American passport and travel more because your ignorance is off the roof. I'm being serious.
my ignorance is off. My ignorance is off the roof. Yet I'm right.
No, you're
I'm
not.
just
You're
right.
not right.
Yeah. So
No,
if
you're
you
not.
are visiting the UAE, of course you can wear some Western
travel.
clothing. Hold on. If you're
Travel.
visiting the UAE and you're at a private beach or you're at a private pool or a private hotel, you can maybe wear some Western clothing. But generally speaking, if you're a citizen of the UAE and you're a Muslim, you're typically going to be prohibited from just wearing whatever you want like it's a normal day.
You just said I'll be thrown in prison because I wear jeans, my friend.
Yeah, I never said you'd be thrown. I never said you'd be thrown in prison. But yeah, someone would probably start talking to you if you publicly go around wearing whatever you want.
My friend, look. I have no problem debating you, right? But when you're straight bullshitting, that's when I stop here and
you can
I
call
say,
it
I don't wanna
BS. You're just not proving me
because
wrong.
No, you are bullshitting. You are bullshitting, right? You just said that.
Okay, listen, dude. If you want, listen. I get that you want more people to visit the UAE. So if you want to believe in whatever, hold on.
That's my problem.
Well, I spread lies. You're the one that misrepresented Christianity in the UAE, talking about how 11% of the population is Christian, when in reality they're just temporarily there to work there and go home, and their passports are often confiscated. That is true. They're often abused in horrible working conditions. That's also true. They die unexpectedly. That's also true. All of those things that I've said have been true about your country, objectively.
Yeah, and the same way your kids get blown up in schools and pum in schools. Yeah, I can make the same argument about your country. But why are you
guys get bombed? You guys get bombed by Iran.
Yeah, and we stop it. How many drones did we deflect?
What do you mean we? Do you know that there are American bases in the UAE protecting you guys?
Yeah, and our crime.
Yeah, the American bases. Yeah,
than
what are the American bases doing? Yeah, the American bases are the ones defending you. The Patriot system. Did you guys develop that?
Wait, so when a country like Iran is against diplomatic ties with the U.S., you have a problem, and then when a country has diplomatic ties and have bases, you also have a problem. You just
what are you talking? Wait. What are you talking about?
That's your narrative, bro.
That doesn't even
That's
make any
your narrative.
sense. No.
No, it
My
does.
point is that
It
you're
does,
talking about
yeah.
how we get bombed here. By the way, we rarely ever get bombed. The largest terrorist attack that's ever happened in America was conducted by Muslims, many of them also from Saudi Arabia, for example, where nearly 3,000 people in total were killed. And we've had many different Islamic bombings and terrorist attacks that have happened here. The bombings here really happen from, really are conducted by the Muslims in America, just so we can be explicitly clear here. When it comes to the to the Arab world and the Middle East, it's also conducted mostly by the Muslims. That's, to be honest, fairly mostly because the majority of people there are Muslims. But there's also like jihad and the Muslim Brotherhood and so on that happens there. But yeah, don't act like you guys didn't have. And I'm pretty sure the UAE was actually more rockets from Iran were launched towards the UAE than to Israel actually. So you guys know what it feels to be bombed now. So
I'm not
don't act like
taking
you don't.
anything from a guy who says that we're gonna be thrown in jail because we
I
wear
never
jeans.
said that. You're
Like,
just
come
making.
on.
I never
You
said you're
just
going to be
said
thrown in jails. I never said you're going to be thrown in jail
on.
for not wearing jeans. I'm just saying that it's
Rewind.
actually, huh?
Can you clip this? You just said that I'll be thrown in jail if I wear
I'm
jeans.
literally telling
So
you I
that's it.
never said this. You're just straw manning
You
me.
just said this on my mother's
I never
life, you
said this.
Like 20 minutes. Yes, you did.
But I never
Arrested.
said you'd be thrown in jail. What I did say, and what I made
Arrested?
very clear, right, was that if you are not wearing proper attire as a UAE citizen, if you're a tourist, they'll give you some credit probably. They won't look on you too much. But if you're a UAE citizen and you're going around wearing Western clothing, yeah, that is going to be looked down upon, and there may be legal consequences of that. Hold on, there may be legal consequences of that because there are also modesty codes there.
There are no legal consequences.
Okay.
There's rules of modesty.
Okay.
Right? The hijab,
Rules of
the
modesty.
hijab,
And what
right.
happens if you break the rules of modesty? What
You
typically
should
happens when you
disappear.
break codes and laws? What typically happens?
Nothing happens. Right? Nothing really happens.
Nothing happens when you make rules and
No.
laws in the UAE?
I've seen British and Americans literally wearing whatever the hell they want. Right? It's fine.
Yeah,
It's-
you're talking
it's
about
not-
tourists. Yeah.
You just said what happens if you do that, and then you're talking about tourists.
Yeah.
See, you see how you deflect? Yeah. You see how you deflect, bro? You just talk. I don't even know why you have this obsession. When your Congress itself, when you have 80 to 90% of your Congress, right, that's funded by a foreign country, right, called Israel, and you still have the
Israel.
audacity to come. Yeah. You still have.
Okay,
the
let's
audacity to talk
just do this
Bro,
really
there's a
quickly. I'm just
foreign-
curious.
there's a foreign
80 to
country more
90% of our
important than your
90% of our Congress. Name a single person in our Congress that is directly funded by Israel. Directly funded by Israel. Go ahead. Name a single person.
The one on his name is Lindsay. What's his Lindsey Graham or whatever?
Lindsey Graham is dead, and no, he never received money from the government of Israel.
He
Name
never
another
received-
person.
You never received anything?
He never received money from the
You're
government of
bullshitting,
Israel.
bro.
No. Name another person. Go ahead. Try again.
Bruh. Name another person.
Wait, do you understand that's illegal, right? You get that it's illegal, right?
Bro,
You're
Trump-
accusing him
How
of
much did Trump receive
from the government of Israel? $0.
from APAC?
Yeah, APAC is not Israel. APAC is an American lobby. Wait, what does the A in APAC
It's
stand
American
for?
Israeli lobby.
Hold on.
It's
What does the
American
A?
Israeli.
What does the A in APAC stand for?
It's the American Israeli PAC,
Oh.
whatever bullshit.
American is what it stands for, right? The A
Yeah,
in
and it says
APAC.
Israeli, my friend.
Public Affairs Committee, and they advocate for a strong U.S.-Israel relationship, but they're made up of Americans.
What benefit does it have to have a strong Israel when you have a fucking country that's Israel? How far is Israel from the U.S.? It's on the other side of the
How
globe.
far are you guys from? You guys are actually further, and we still have bases in your country, and we still have economic deals in
What
your
do you mean
country,
further,
right?
bro? What do you mean further? What do you mean further? Like American bases? Yeah, what are they doing here?
Yeah, so Israel's like about 6,000 miles away from. Wait, do you not think your government knows that we have bases in your country?
No, I know that we have bases. There's a base in near my
Oh,
house.
okay.
Yeah.
What are we doing there if you guys are so far away like Israel is?
What do you mean? What are you doing there?
This guy really can't
I don't
understand
know.
basic things.
Protection. Yeah, it's called diplomatic ties. Yes. We saw
Oh,
them
yeah,
in
yeah.
our
So
war.
the same thing with Israel. We have
Yeah, that's
diplomatic ties with Israel.
Yeah,
And
but
by the
we-
way,
we don't
Israel is a much more capable country than you guys. You guys just have Iranian
you-
rocket. You guys have
No,
Iranian
but-
missiles and drones and rockets get fired at you guys, and you guys
but
basically do
We
nothing.
have healthcare. We have healthcare. I mean, we have
Yeah,
our
we have
people
the best
represented.
healthcare in America too. We
No,
have the
no,
we have the best healthcare innovation. We have the best medicine, the best medical technology in the world.
Brother, we have a shiukh who
This
literally
guy's
come
saying we have
around.
healthcare like we don't in America.
No,
Who told
we
you
have
that? The leftists?
bro. The leftists, yeah, bro. You pay 20,000.
You don't think Americans have healthcare?
You pay 20,000 for an ambulance, bro.
Yeah, dude.
When
Just
you
go
have-
ahead and make your stuff up all you want. But what's
What do you
funny,
make-
and I have to
our
say this before I'll
leaders-
drop you because I'm gonna move on to someone else. I'm gonna move to someone else. But before
our
I
leaders
go on,
represent us.
it's funny how, to be honest, I don't really critique the Gulf countries all that much in comparison to like different countries like Lebanon and Syria, but you guys really don't have a lot of innovation or ingenuity. You guys have oil money, and that's it. Like, you use your oil money to fund basically everything else. But no one knows the UAE or Qatar or Saudi Arabia for its geniuses that keep inventing AI and create all of these great startups like Israel or anything. No, you guys are not really inventors. All you guys really do is you guys basically got a geographical lottery where you have all of this oil beneath you, and you have American companies like ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, come in, build the infrastructure, right, to actually export all of this oil. Hold on, they build the infrastructure to actually export all of this oil, and you guys have a deal with them, so your government gets a certain percentage. That's basically it. But you guys aren't known for your ingenuity, dude. I'm sorry. I'll move on to someone else. It's like, you're not impressive because your country came across a bunch of oil and you guys are exporting the oil. Like, that's not impressive stuff, dude. Okay? Yeah, Ryuk says oil money and slave labor is how they operate. Exactly. You operate based off of, like, oil money and slave labor, and we're supposed to be impressed by that. Like, I'm not really impressed. Yeah, he's from the UAE, by the way, the people on YouTube, Magnum. He's from the UAE. Blueberry says on YouTube, waiting for him to ask if Matt is America first or Israel first. Yeah, of course, they always like that. That's like their favorite question that they like to ask.
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, man? What do you have for us?
I would like to talk about white privilege is a myth.
Okay. What do you think white privilege is?
Yeah, white privilege. Well, I would like to just go under my field of study. White privilege is the ability not to be affected by systemic medical racism.
Okay.
No one in the Western civilization, well, let me say this. White people in Western civilization don't experience systemic medical racism, and that in itself is a privilege.
So you're only talking about medical racism or specific? I'm just talking about the broad umbrella, generally speaking, that there's no white privilege.
That's a privilege. I'm only speaking in my area of expertise, though.
Okay. Just more specifically in your area of expertise. What is your best example? And when it comes to, like, okay, just really quickly, I know that a lot of people like to deny this. Do you agree, generally speaking, because you're in the medical field, I would assume you agree, that race is a biological factor that can, not always is, or most definitely or certainly is, but can be an important thing when it comes to medicine, prescription, or trying to figure out what someone has?
It should be the least determining factor.
Should be, but generally, is it a factor?
It can be a factor.
Okay, like, for example, sickle cell is something that is predominantly found in
People from African descendants, yeah.
Descendants, right? And that's a thing. That's something that's inherited from the father and the mother, and that is a biological genetic thing. And so there are racial biological differences between different groups, which is why the whole medical racism thing gets so fuzzy. It's nowhere near as simple as like the general institutional corporate racism that supposedly exists. When you get into the medical field, like, there are real biological things that affect things, you know? So
let's go on one particular example, all right? And you're going to agree with this. You would agree that Black and Asian people and white people have the same lung capacitance. Would you agree to that?
Not necessarily.
Well, it's okay, no problem.
No, I don't think it's certain. I don't think it's definitive. Right.
All available medical proof shows that there's no difference in lung capacity between Black and Asian people. You can look at the American.
No one can test that at all?
The American Thoracic Society back in 2020 verified this. Now, where the systemic racism comes into play. Spirometers were invented to measure lung capacity. And they have this very interesting feature up until 2020, and that they had race-based changes. For Asian Americans, it was a difference between 4 to 6%. For African Americans, it was a difference between 10 to 15%. That 10 to 15% would make a sizable change on whether someone was asthmatic or had a pulmonary issue, right? So hundreds of thousands of people were misdiagnosed because of these parameters. These parameters were based off of pseudoscience, right? Propagated by early medical founders that believed that Black people had less lung capacity, and that's why they needed to have manual labor. This is not conjecture. This is all said and done here. We can pull up a couple different studies from Harvard. But that's just one example.
Okay, so I just I'm reading off of here. It says raw statistical data shows differences in average lung volumes between racial groups. But modern medical research shows these gaps come from social, environmental, and physical proportions rather than innate biological deficit. But I always hear that when it comes to with the BS that the leftists always give me. They always say social, environmental, and whatever. But generally speaking, there is actually a difference there. That exists. There's some difference that actually does exist between lung capacity. I don't know how severe it is. I'm not in the medical field, but there is a difference. But so I'm reading here more.
When we take a Black person and a white person who live in the same neighborhood and have the same socioeconomic factors, their lung capacity is almost always the same. The 10 to 15% is literally based off of pseudoscience that they kept propagating.
Over the past century, this environment, widespread use. Boom. Let's see. Yeah, so you cited the Joint Working Party of the American Thoracic Society, right?
Yes.
They actually recommend the use of race and ethnic-specific references of values when available. That's what they do. Alternatively, they recommend correction factors. In the United States, spirometers use either correction factors of 10% to 15% for individuals labeled Black and 4 to 6% for people labeled Asian, or population-specific standards. Usually, those derive from the U.S. From the third U.S.-based National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey for Caucasians.
Yeah. So if you have a Black patient, and here's the problem, right? So
I mean, this is what you're according to your own source. They use this.
They are using it, and they're trying to correct it. The spirometers are usually air gapped, meaning that they're hard coded into the actual machine. So to do like an update, right, you would have to physically go on site and to change it from there. So what I'm trying to get you to understand is the basis that we programmed those machines, right, was racist. If you had pulmonary issue, if you had a pulmonary issue and you went into a spirometer, they would move your lung capacity down 10 to 15%. The doctor would not be aware of that because they're not engineers, right? They just use the equipment. If you put it in you were white, you would get the actual results.
But there's a basis. But there's a basis for this, which is This is the thing. There's an actual basis for this. So for decades, medical devices like spirometers automatically reduce normal lung capacity scores for Black patients by 10 to 15%, and for Asians 4 to 6%. Delayed care. Okay.
Yep. Come on.
Let's see. I'm just scrolling through this. Social and environmental. Okay. Research points to poverty, exposure to toxic air pollution, poor nutrition. But what people don't understand, these are all biological factors. Like exposure to toxic air pollution is a biological factor. Poor nutrition is a biological factor. Unequal access to quality health care, apparently, is a factor that can be biological. These things have actual basis. It's not just like, oh, we're racist. Like this is not the fact.
No.
These are real contested medical phenomenons that can be observed.
Let me reiterate this one more time for you, right? This is what happened, and I'm gonna make it very clear. When these machines were being built, they consulted doctors who believed a couple of different things. One, they believed that Black people had higher pain tolerances and thicker skin for some reason. Two, they believe that black people had lower lung capacities. They just believe this without any empirical testing.
No, they based it off of some things, although they weren't completely accurate. But they weren't making everything up. Like, let me just make a factor here just for everything. Like, not all of the like, okay, back then a lot of people were LARPing. Okay, a lot of people were making stuff up. I forget this guy's name, and I should know his name. But he thought he thought that being black was an actual disease. Okay, like, okay, that is LARPing, right? But some people actually based some of their medical views based off of what they actually could observe biologically to an extent. Okay, so although there was a lot of pseudoscientific nonsense, some of the things were somewhat grounded in what they could observe. Not totally just like, oh, this person's an Asian, his lung capacity has to be reduced by 6%. Okay, but let me go ahead and just show this article. This is from Harvard.
Yep, and that's the one I was just researching. And
okay, well, it says here, I don't think the article looks good already on your end, but let's read into it. It says here, researchers tried to fix a racist lung test. It got complicated, which is interesting. Okay, the new test deems many patients of color sicker and white ones healthier. As her patient blows into a snorkel like mouthpiece, okay. Keep going. She urges, voice rising all 6 times, she says. She says it as the patient strains to expel every last bit of air in her lungs. Okay. Okay, before, the computer program that assessed lung function sorted patients into one of 4 categories, right? So the computer that assessed lung function sorted them from Caucasian, Black, Asian, or Hispanic. It automatically lowered the threshold for what is normal for Black and Asian patients. It's a startling example of how racial bias has literally been written into the machinery of the 21st century healthcare, and how formulas based on supposed racial differences have skewed decision-making in many corners of medicine. Boston Medical Center is among the institutions working to address this problem. After an April 2023 recommendation by the American Thoracic Society that laboratories adopt a race-neutral algorithm or set of rules for assessments. But with thousands of lung-functioning laboratories and clinics scattered across the country, the movement for change faced manifold obstacles and thorny consequences. So there's still problems. Like this article is.
I already mentioned what those.
But I'm just going to tell you, this article is agreeing with me in the sense that, like, look at the title. Researchers try to fix a racist lung test. It got complicated. Like, so it talks about how. After an April 2023 recommendation by the American Thoracic Society that laboratories adopt a race-neutral algorithm or set of rules for assessments, okay? But it talks about how there were many obstacles and consequences of doing this, okay? It says applying the race-neutral algorithm means broadly that Black patients will be deemed sicker and white ones healthier than before, right? But Black patients will be deemed sicker with the race-neutral algorithm. This is basically saying it makes it worse.
It gives you more accurate. Okay.
So you're saying Black patients are even sicker than the what you're basically saying is that under the racist lung machines, Black patients were being they're what was going on was making them sicker. It was making them worse. It wasn't being accurate, right?
Okay, so let's.
And this is saying the race neutral one makes them even more sicker.
It doesn't make them sicker. The machine doesn't make them sicker. Let's get that very clear.
Not necessarily makes them. The correction is wrong. I get what you mean. I'm trying to use simple language.
What I am saying is let's make it very simple, right? Mm-hmm. If I have a thermometer, right, and my thermometer, when I place it onto your head, reads you 3 degrees lower than what your actual body temperature is, it doesn't make you sicker.
I'm sorry. I try to use very simplistic language, deemed sicker given the assessments. I get what you mean. It doesn't actually make anyone sicker. That sort of that the way I hold on. The way I articulated that is wrong. It doesn't make someone sicker or whatnot. I'm saying that you will be deemed sicker given the actual assessments. I get that, but nevertheless, this still proves my point, right? With the non-race neutral ones, you believe that the assessments were inaccurate and gave black people.
I don't believe that they're inaccurate. They are inaccurate.
Okay. So you
very
agree
clear.
that the race? Okay, you agree that the non-race neutral spirometers and medical devices, and their assessments, right, led to worse health outcomes for black people and Hispanic people and so on. Correct? Okay, perfect. But applying the race neutral algorithm broadly, that black patients will be deemed sicker and white ones healthier than before. So it makes the situation actually worse, because it's saying that if you add the race neutral one, the one that's not supposed to be racist, it makes the whites healthier and the blacks sicker.
That's okay. I need you to slow down real quick, right? I think you're listening to respond instead of actually listening.
This is your own article, man.
Well, it's not mine. I have my own article. I can put it in the chat for you about mobilization and biomedical apps for.
I mean, do you guys not get what I'm saying, though? I guess everyone else gets what I'm saying, though, right? Surely you guys get what I'm saying.
Your audience just hears sicker, and they literally think that it's making them sicker. If you're already sick,
I already corrected that. The spirometer is given assessment, which then dictates how you're going to be treated and what medical treatment you'll exactly get. Okay, I'm not in the field, but I'm assuming that's generally what goes on, right? So we don't actually believe that the spirometer, something that's supposed to measure lung capacity and so on, is going to make you sicker itself.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's a basic correction there. But generally speaking, the point still stands, because the race neutral algorithm deems black people sicker than before and white people healthier than before, which is still against your point.
You should be framing it, though. It gives you more of an accurate assessment of your lung capacity.
Assessment?
Yes, you can get a more accurate assessment of your lung capacity, so you can be treated for where your actual lung capacity is.
But it deems black people sicker. I thought you weren't for that.
Oh my God. If someone has a low lung capacity and my machine tells me that
how does any of this tie into white privilege, dude?
Well, I want you to do me a quick favor. You're on your computer. Can you look up to see if there's any medical racism that applies to white people? Just do it for me. And I would like to say this: in Western civilizations. Go give it a quick.
What the hell does this have to do with white privilege, though?
It is a privilege not to be systemic. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Biology is a privilege too now, in this sense. Like,
white people
typically don't have sickle cell. Is that supposed to be part of white privilege? Because if that's what white privilege means, then I guess white people do have privilege. I guess I do too.
Man. You're conflating. I'm saying that white people don't have machines that tell them inaccurate. Here we go. Give me one second.
Brother, the race-neutral algorithm deemed the black patients sicker and the white ones healthier.
They were sicker. That's what. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. You're not in the field, and I completely understand that. So I'm getting frustrated when this could be a teachable moment. So, I was saying,
man.
if you could just look up for me one single thing. Do white people experience systemic medical racism in Western civilizations?
I don't think that's a relevant question.
Can you Google it for me?
What systemic? What? You haven't even been able to prove that black people face it.
I just proved it.
No, you didn't.
Oh my gosh.
You didn't prove it. You mentioned spirometers.
I can give you plenty of examples. I literally.
I remember when someone brought up this whole myth and lie that was easily debunked, talking about how when the primary doctor in the delivery room is a white guy, the black person has a higher chance of dying, or the black
That
baby,
is
the
not
black
true.
infant has a higher chance of dying. Yeah, I remember someone brought that up as a point, and that got debunked when you accounted for birth rate. So or birth weight, sorry. So a lot of these things get easily debunked, especially this spirometer one, because even this article talks about how they try to fix a racist lung test, and it got even more complicated than it was before. So it's just complicated stuff. It's complicated biological and racial stuff, but it's not white privilege, dude.
It is a privilege not to have the medical system build infrastructure that lowers your capacity for assessment accurately. That is easy. That is an easy thing to claim, and it's okay, because I don't think anyone alive here built these machines or built the processes, but we have to acknowledge them, right? We have to
But this
acknowledge
is not
them
modern.
so that they can
This
get
is not
corrected.
modern systemic racism. Even if I were to grant you that being true, do you know what that doesn't account for? Is the fact that there was a point where there was no civil rights, or there was a point where there was Jim Crow, there was a point where there was segregation that no longer exists. If white people are correcting things that they believed were immoral in the past, how are you blaming?
Give me a moment.
How are you blaming contemporary systemic racism for this?
Give me 1 second, okay? Good. God is great. Let us thank you for our food. Amen. Let's eat. Amen. Let's eat. Okay, I'll be almost done. Hey, listen. The problem is that until I brought this up to you, you had no idea that this existed, correct?
Actually, no, I've heard this argument about spirometers before. I've heard this lung capacity argument before. I rarely hear arguments about systemic racism that I don't ever know about. I've heard the spirometer argument before.
Okay. Now, the spirometer is just one thing. It's a lot of stuff, right?
But a lot of it. But how many of these studies account for all of the biological variables, though?
It would be, soon it won't be impossible to do so, but with our current technology, it would be impossible to consider every single biological difference, or to make genomic medicine. It would be the ideal result of this, right? But right now it's in its infancy. What I am saying is, right, when we are presented with new and current information that clearly debunks racism, and we continue to make products, right? Because this wasn't debunked in 2020. This was debunked in 1970. Why is it? Never mind.
I mean, it hasn't even really been debunked now, but okay.
Yes, oh my God. Black people and white people do not have different lung capacities. Do you believe that?
From what I'm reading from this article, it seems like these people believe that to an extent.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
I think what you're missing is the.
I'm just telling you what the article says.
The actual problem is because you know what air gapped is, right?
Air gapped?
Air gapped. Yeah, they're air gapped. They're on a LAN network, not a WAN network, right? Meaning that you can't just push a update to these older machines, meaning that the correction of them needs to be implemented by the physician most of the time, to either allow them, when they're putting in their information, to say, hey, this person is just white, and then everybody gets the same test, or two, there is no race. Depending on the manufacturer, however, you can't do that. This is just one example.
Let me ask you a quick question. On average, is there a difference between lung capacity between black and white people?
No.
And lung size as well?
No.
Okay, let's read what the actual article from Harvard says. Lung function varies widely among healthy people, so the machines have been programmed to compare patients to similar people with healthy lungs based on sex, height, age, and race. Race came into the equation because of observed differences in the lungs of different racial groups. Notice how it doesn't say racism. It says, Harvard says, race came into the equation because of the observed differences. Remember earlier when I talked about how these people
But who observed
let me
it, though?
finish. Let me
Listen.
finish.
Oh my
Remember
gosh.
earlier when I mentioned how not all of these people were LARPing, some of them were actually observing things? This is what the article says, right? Race came into the equation because of observed differences in the lungs of different racial groups. On average, black people's lungs tend to be smaller and to perform worse on spirometry tests. Now, they tend to be smaller is what it actually says, objectively. They tend to be smaller. You says they're the same size. That's not true, okay? And it goes on to say, it goes on to say, not in this dogmatic way that it's racism. It goes on to say the problem is that no one's ever done the work to figure out why, says Nirav Bakata, whatever her name is, co-chair of the American Thoracic Society's working group that recommended the new standard, University of California. Okay, perfect. And it says, Bakata says it was assumed that the differences were genetic. In fact, a host of factors can affect someone's lung growth and lung function, from their mother's nutrition while pregnant to hazardous exposures at home and work later in life. Again, all of these are things that go into biology, okay? And ample evidence shows that race is a superficial social designation with no medical meaning. There are more differences than similarities in the racial groups. Yeah, I hear this repeated so many different times. Doesn't change the fact that there are still some differences that need to be accounted for.
So the question is then if there are differences, right? Why is it that there are no machines, absolutely no machines that adjust race for factor for whites people? And I can vehemently say that. Go ahead, look it up.
Vehemently, by the way, would be the correct way to say it.
You were saying
but I don't think that changes anything.
That doesn't change anything?
And another thing, by the way, that I think would be important to, like, not to sound any other way, but just so we can get to a point here that also makes sense. Were most of these machines created by white people?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that.
Wait, I'm just asking, were most of these machines created by white people? Just answer the question, please.
No. The machine that I'm talking about.
Dude, brother. Let's get to the honesty, because I'm sure that if I look it up, it's going to be Williams, Jamesburger.
I know
Stop
that
it.
people are going to say...
Were most of these machines that we're talking about, like spirometers and these lung devices...
Give me a second. I'm actually about to go take a run with my son. People are going to say I'm literally running. He's asking me to take a run with him. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Please look into this beyond just one article. You seem like a pretty intelligent guy. Okay.
I appreciate it. But by the way, the point that I was going to get to, go ahead, man. Enjoy the time with your son. The point that I was going to get to, guys, is, thank you. The point that I was going to get to this is this, right? If the majority of these devices are being made by white people, then of course they would be mostly adjusted for the benefit of white people. Like, doesn't that just make basic sense? Like, objectively, the majority of these devices were made by white people. Why would these white people misdiagnose their own lung capacity to a high degree? They wouldn't, because they were created by white people. If they were created by black people, I don't think black people would be misadjusting or whatever. So that also makes sense. They created the machines. They created almost everything when it comes to these medical devices. So when he's like, well, look up if any of these medical machines were ever created and they are not adjusted correctly for the white body or whatever. Well, it's like, well, they were created by white people, so of course they would be adjusted for the white body because they were created by white people. Anyway, let me give the TikTok Live a quick reset here. Give me a second. It's like, that kind of like follows. Do you guys get what I'm saying? It's like they were created for white people. It's the same way that if you go to a place where the population is like, everyone's 5'5", okay? Like, everyone is max 5'5". You wouldn't be shocked if the doors were shorter, if the kitchen counters were shorter, if the houses were shorter. Like, none of those things would surprise you if you went to an island where everyone was 5'5". Because the architecture of the island and the height of the architecture, the width, everything was created to accommodate to a specific population. Yeah, you can fix the TikTok audio. Do you get what I mean, guys? Like, doesn't that make sense? Yeah, I reset the TikTok live really quickly. It's like I'm just saying that sort of adds up. Yeah. Christine says, haha, white is normal and default. Tell him that. Yeah. I like the argument that Lady is also making in the YouTube channel. Let me go ahead and check it out. Yeah, Old Mean Lady says, this is the dumb argument like Band-Aids are racist because the market serves the majority, not the minority. Anyone can make a machine that has different settings, and anyone can make dark Band-Aids. I agree. Right? The reason why Band-Aids tend not to be very dark is because, well, the majority of people in the country are white. And Band-Aids, I'm assuming, were created, like Band-Aids as we know them, were created by white people. And so you typically make devices, and this goes for everything, by the way, that accommodate to your people. Which is why, for example, have you guys watched Bird Box? I mean, it's a famous movie. 2018 Bird Box. Basically, if you're not blindfolded and you go outside and you see these creatures, it makes you want to commit suicide, okay? When in Bird Box, I don't know if you guys remember this part, where it skips to 5 years into the future. You didn't see people going around with glasses on or sun like shades or anything. No, because you're accommodating to your situation, right? No one's really worried about the next movie or the best TV show to watch, or no one's going outside to enjoy the beach as often because you have to accommodate to your situation. And so, yeah, Band-Aids are going to be lighter because white people created them and the majority of people in the country are white. And spirometers and medical machines are all going to be mainly accommodated for white people because white people invented those machines. Just kind of how basic things work. I bet you that if black people invented those machines, that those machines would be better made for black people. The same way, which I gave this example before, if there was an island where the max height was 5'5", all of the architecture, the doors, the size of the houses, the size of the chairs, everything would be smaller to accommodate for the short population. So his argument there of, well, name a single medical machine that, you know, is inaccurate for white people. I can't probably name one because they were all created for white people, mainly, and by. For and by. Sorry, man. Anyway, we have someone over on TikTok. I'm sorry, Discord. Someone's joining up on Discord. I don't know what they want to particularly debate, but very well said, YouTube lady. Right, she's right. Okay. Sharmuta says, we have a lot of brown bandages in Norway, actually. Actually, I hate it when Westerners are complaining about Korea and Japan marking makeup foundation or BB Scream that doesn't have enough shades, and they forget the makeup is for their people, yeah. Yeah, so same thing with makeup shades. It's like, well, where are all the like darker shades? I don't really know anything about makeup, so I don't play with makeup. I don't do that stuff, but yeah, I'm going to assume that in Japan, people have lighter shade, so they're going to have lighter shade makeup. That's not racism. See, a lot of people just complain about racism, and this goes for almost anything when it comes to leftists, either racism or economic things. They complain about these things because they don't understand it or because they're just like, it's like logic is flying right past their heads. Like logic is just missing them. It's like if you think about it for a second, just for a second, which I did, it sort of starts to make sense, you know? Matt, can you do a college tour on HBCUs? Yeah, I want to live, though. I kind of want to live. Imagine if I pulled up to an HBCU with, like, these prompts. I saw Cam Higbee, who I respect very much. He went to an HBCU, had a sign up, and he was attacked, harassed, screamed at. Things were being tossed at him. And they weren't very welcoming. Now, they may be a little bit more welcoming to me because I'm black, because I think they presume if you're white and you don't have views that agree with them, you're automatically like the most evil person in the world. So they may be kinder to me because I'm black. I may get preferential treatment that way. But nevertheless, I would have to have some heavy-duty security if I went to an HBCU, because there's no way that none of those YNs wouldn't try to fight me. There's just no way. There's no way none of those YNs wouldn't try to like swing at me or anything, okay? Just trying to be honest. I mean, am I wrong, guys? Am I wrong? Am I wrong about that? There would be like a guy, what you talking about, man? Tries to like throw a swing at me or anything or something. They'll call me a coon and probably try to beat me up or something. That would almost certainly happen, okay? So I would have to have like heavy duty security there in order for that to happen. Okay, we're looking for people who disagree. The Shlomo guy doesn't really disagree. What about the other guy that is enemy of snowflakes? Does he disagree? Because that note is already good. Okay, perfect. Let's bring enemy in, because he actually disagrees. Enemy, what's up, dude? Hello? Are you there?
Hey, dude. Can you hear me?
What's up? What's going on?
I just want to say a quick note about HBCUs. You're right that there would need to be security, but to protect the school, considering you were once arrested for threatening to shoot up a school.
There it is again. A troll. Got to do better with trolling, man. Like you got to come in here with something new or something better than that. But I'm glad you would agree that I would need security if I went to an HBCU. I'm glad that you agree. Okay, we have Shlomo there. We could bring him in here. Okay, let's bring up Shlomo. Okay, Shlomo, go ahead. You wanted to issue a correction. Go ahead. Give me that. Hello?
Hello? Yeah.
Can barely hear you. Can you talk a little louder, please?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. He's talking at the same time. You want me to issue a correction?
Yeah, you said something about correcting me on Area C and talking about where people are allowed to go when it comes to the West Bank. Go ahead. Give me the correction on that.
Oh, this is Matt. Hi.
Yeah, it's me, man.
I guess there's a time delay because I'm watching you talk and you're talking. Anyway, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yep, can.
So I'm a Jewish Israeli person living in a Jewish community in Area C.
Okay.
And often you talk about, when you explain to people the situation in Area A, that Israelis are not allowed to go into Area A.
According to the law and according to the signs that are there before you enter Area A, yes, that is widely true.
Right. So I just wanted to correct you. There are organized groups of Jewish people that go to visit holy sites. Like, for example, I live right next to Joseph's tomb in Shechem, Nablus. So there are organized groups that go to visit Jewish holy sites where the IDF coordinates with the Palestinian Authority and go in as a group, an organized group, to visit Jewish holy sites.
Okay, and that is allowed by the Israeli government?
Yeah, it's allowed, and it's coordinated with the Palestinian police.
Okay, that unique event may be coordinated and allowed. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, so it's such an exception to the
But generally, you're not just allowed
rule.
to go. Generally speaking, without anything special or organized with the governments, you're not allowed to go there, right? Generally speaking.
No. And if you go there, if you're an Israeli or Jewish person, you'll get lynched.
Right. I remember people
That's
bringing up the
absolutely
2000 Ramallah, the 2000 Ramallah lynching, where a guy, again, he went the wrong route. It wasn't intentional or anything, and he ended up in Ramallah, and he was basically massacred. And there was a guy that came out of the police station where he was being held at, because they were trying to, like, the police was trying to somewhat defend him, where a guy came out with the literal blood of the Israeli guys in his hands, and so that was crazy. But
Right.
okay, that's a small correction, which I can note down. Okay.
Yeah, and I wanted to say I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. I love
And I wanna thank you.
having polemical discussions. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Peace.
All
right. Yeah, they probably have police and soldiers. Everything is coordinated when it comes to something like that. You're right. Over on YouTube, like if you're doing something like that, you have to have it coordinated. James says, still waiting, Matt. Okay. Guy named Troll of Trolls. It's not a name I really want to bring up here.
Let me pause this real quick before we get started. Okay.
James, what's up?
So yeah, I wanted to debate the last one here, even though I think that the second one is pretty bad too. You say that. What do you?
No,
what
let's
do you
debate.
mean?
Let's debate that. Let's debate the second one. What? Where? Or I mean, are you black? If you're black, I want to talk about white privilege with you.
No, I would rather talk about Islam because I grew up with Muslim kids, and I don't understand, like, when y'all say Islam doesn't work in America, right? I grew up skateboarding, right? And, you know, to an extent, hanging out with skaters, BMX riders, and a lot of the kids, because I'm from Detroit, they were from Dearborn, and they came downtown to ride around with us. We filmed together, hung out, you know, got in trouble together, and we were friends.
Yeah.
And they're just as American as anybody else. They just
Try
pray
talking
differently.
into your phone a little more, by the way. Try talking into your phone a little more.
I'm saying that these kids that I grew up with, right, that I grew up skating with and filming with, they're just as American as anybody who's Christian or anybody who's, you know, J-word people. I don't
That's
know if you
an
can
anecdote, sir. You're saying that, well, Islam works in America. It is an anecdote because you're talking about your personal experience. But you're saying that Israel works in America, or Islam works in America, because I grew up around Muslim kids in California that were from Dearborn that skateboarded with me.
The majority of Muslim people are not trying to push their religion on people. They're just people.
I never said that.
I grew up. So why can't somebody follow Islam and be an American? You know, Malcolm X was a Muslim.
So let me lay out my argument. My argument is not that the majority of Muslims in America are trying to push their religion on everyone else. That's not even my argument. My argument is that Islam generally, as a religious and political institution, is not congruous with Western civilization and Western principles. This is why in Muslim nations, you are governed by Sharia law. You are governed by Islamic principles, and they're very strict. Right. This is why there's no freedom of religion in those countries. This is why there's no democracies or republic in those countries. And it also goes to say that a decent amount of Muslims, not necessarily the majority of them, are radical. But there's a decent amount that are radical, that hold extremist beliefs. And that certainly is not compatible with Western civilization. So that's not to say that every Muslim on a micro level is not compatible. But I think that, as Charlie Kirk said, Islam on a macro level seems to be incompatible with general Western civilization. Doesn't mean that you can't grow around good Muslim kids.
There's tons of Christians that are extremists too, that predicate their political beliefs on extremist interpretations of the Bible. This is why you have
name the last. Yeah, but okay, really quickly, sir. There's something called the Global Terrorism Index. You know what that is?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. The top 15 groups on the Global Terrorism Index, are any of them Christian? Because there are more Christian than Muslim, so it would make sense if there were more Christian organizations on that list than Muslim ones. But let me ask you, are there any Christian groups, extremist groups, on the Global Terrorism Index, the top 15?
There should be, like, Patriots.
There should be. You're trying to superimpose. You're like, no, put a Christian organization on there. Put a Christian organization on there. There should be.
The point is that in the United States of America, speaking about terrorism specifically here, a lot of terror attacks are motivated by Christian nationalism. This is why you have people taking ARs up to abortion clinics and shit like that. This is why you had a lot of the shit.
Okay, well, that doesn't really happen. But let me ask you something. Well, there are more Christians in America than there are Muslims. So that if that was the case, that would make sense.
The triple K is
the triple K, sir. The Patriot Front. Okay, hold on. I get the buzzwords. Talk into your microphone, please, so people can hear you better. I want you to be intelligible. Speak. No. Hold on, brother. Just hold on. I'm trying to make sure you're audible. Speak clearer into your microphone and louder so people can hear you better.
I'll say it again.
No, we heard you. I just want you to actually be heard better. Okay? But let me respond. The triple K, which you guys fearmonger about, which I've never seen one a single day in my life because they don't really exist, are like 5 people. Let me respond. The triple K nowadays is like 5 people who are probably sitting, brother. Oh my God, 5,000! And how many? Do you know how many total gang members there are in Chicago? 150,000. Okay, there hasn't been a lynching of a black man by any so-called white supremacist group in this country in nearly 5 decades, 50 years. Okay, but there are constant gang shootings all the time. So please, really back off with this triple K stuff. You mentioned Patriot Front. Again, I've done research on these organizations. Hold on, sir, for a second. You mentioned Patriot Front. I've done research on these organizations. Patriot Front, if you actually read about their... Okay. Patriot Front, if you've actually read about their organization, their group, they were struggling... Okay. They were struggling to obtain like 240 members in 2022. And they were struggling to get people to join on Discord and stuff, okay? Like, these organizations don't yield any significant political, institutional lobbying power at all. These organizations are completely irrelevant. They do nothing.
No, they're not irrelevant. These are real people with real political power. And you're
okay, name a single... Okay, ready? Name a single person in Patriot Front that has real political power. Go.
What I mean is these are voters.
No, stop. Answer the question, sir. Answer. How about this? Answer that. You said these are real people that have real political power as a response to me telling you that they're irrelevant. So let me... Oh, they're actual voters. Oh, they vote. Sir, you vote. I don't want...
And how our country goes.
It's called freedom. It's called freedom of speech. It's called freedom of belief.
So you think white supremacy is good?
When did I talk about any supremacy being good, sir? Let me make something very clear to you. The same way that black nationalists in this country are allowed to vote. Let me respond to you. Speak louder, by the way, into your microphone. But let me also respond to you, right?
Nationalist, just so you
know. I didn't say you were. But the same way.
Stop bringing up shit that I'm not. I'm a black leftist.
I'm not a white supremacist, but you're bringing them up, aren't you? I'm a white supremacist. Okay, that seems quite contradictory, but nevertheless, because right back to the point. I'm a white supremacist, so that makes no sense, but sure.
White people more than you.
Okay, perfect. So back to the point. I'm not supportive of Hispanic supremacy, white supremacy, or black supremacy, but all of these people who are U.S. citizens or whatever in their district can vote in elections. Federal elections and state elections and so on, okay? I don't want black nationalists to necessarily vote, but they vote, okay? I don't want people to vote based off skin color, but a lot of black people voted for Obama. Let me finish. A lot of black people voted for Obama. Let me finish. No, you're not going to interrupt me. Let me finish. A lot of black people voted for Obama because he was black, but you can't change that because... Okay, sir. Stop. Calm down and let me finish, brother. Calm down and let me finish, brother. Thank you. So if a black person decides to vote for a person based off of skin color, it may not be what you want, but they can do that because that's their constitutional right as an American citizen. If a white person, wrong thing. If a white person wants to be a part of Patriot Front and wants to vote, he can vote because it's his constitutional right. Your political and or social beliefs do not change, eradicate, or erode your ability to vote in America. That is law.
Hold that same energy for people that are Muslim. Number one.
Muslims can vote too.
What I was demonstrating there to you is that these people have actual say in the things that happen in our
And
system.
so do black nationalists. And so do DEI activists. They have political say. I'm not happy about that.
DEI activists. There's no such thing as a DEI activist, dude. You're making up bullshit.
There's no such thing as a DEI activist. Then who's Amanda Seals? Then who's Amanda Seals? I sat right next to one. Who's Amanda Seals then?
Amanda Seals is not a DEI activist. She's a political activist, a leftist, a socialist.
Does she advocate for DEI policy?
Yes, that doesn't mean
then
you're
she's a DEI activist. Thank you.
So I'm a DEI activist. You're a socialist or a leftist. You're a DEI activist because you don't like.
If you advocate for DEI policy, you're a DEI activist. If you advocate for BLM, you're a BLM activist. Advocating for certain political ideology would classify you as that
it wouldn't
activist. Okay.
Who they are politically. That's a very dishonest way.
Yeah, it kind of will. Let me ask you. If someone advocates for DEI, are they typically on the left or the right?
You're on the left. So that person.
Okay, thank you. So it does actually describe their political affiliation.
So, hold on. A couple of things talk about DEI also mainly helped white women get into positions of power.
I don't care. I don't want it to help anybody. I want you to obtain job positions because of your merit, because of your ability to complete and execute the job description. Not because you're black, not because you're a woman, not because you're indigenous lesbian from some random tribe, the Apache tribe. None of that nonsense, okay?
Yeah, white men that are veterans and that are disabled literally benefited from DEI programs.
Yeah, that's not DEI. That's not DEI. The VA is not DEI. No, the VA is not DEI. Because you want to know what? You want to know what? It's not based off of. Yeah. So the VA gives you benefits regardless of you being black, white, brown. Doesn't matter. Okay. So that's not DEI.
That's not what I was talking about. I wasn't talking about VA benefits, motherfucker. What I'm referring to
Whoa, is that you're getting a little rude now, aren't you?
The police department wants to hire people, right? And they want diversity. They can choose to hire, like, for instance, veterans or people that have certain disabilities, and maybe they can work a desk job or something, which includes a lot of white men are veterans. That's why you see a lot of people go from
working a desk job is not DEI.
Dude. That's not what I said. I said they could be selected for the job because they qualify under one of those categories.
Yep, that's not DEI.
So you're telling me, so you're gonna sit up here and lie? That's what y'all do at the Daily Wire and tell all your.
No, we're not. We don't sit up here and lie. You know what we do here. You know what we do here, sir. You know what we do here. We destroy people with facts and logic, like you've been getting destroyed by facts and logic. That's what we do here. Facts and logic. Facts and logic, which you don't tend. Let me ask you a question. How old are you? To set a baseline here. Calm down for a second. How old are you?
How's that relevant to this conversation?
Okay.
Because what you're trying to do is.
How old are you?
Bro, I'm doing fine in life. I just don't.
That's
like
fine. I'm not saying you're not doing great. You're doing awesome. That's fine. How old are you though?
I just don't like people like you, frauds.
That's totally fine, James. How old are you though?
I'm old enough to not be a fraud divider.
I need you to be. I need to know because of TikTok reasons. So you have to tell me your age, dude.
Yeah, I'm 31.
31. Okay, perfect. What are the 3 branches of American government, James?
Executive, judicial, legislative.
Well, how many members are there of the U.S. Senate?
There has to be at least 50 or like something like that. I got to look that up. Now, that's something
100, 2 per every state. 2 times 50 is 100. How many people are in the House of Representatives, James?
Like 200 something.
Nope, 435. How does a bill become a law, James?
It's many different
I'm the
ways
fraud.
as far as I know.
How does a bill on the federal level become a law, James?
There's different ways bills can be proposed and sponsored by different people.
That's not answering my question.
The president can propose a bill, take it to the House of Representatives, and then it goes through the Senate.
The president is part of the executive branch. Members of the executive branch do not lay out bills. They can support bills. They can sponsor a bill.
They don't propose legislation?
Wait, you think the president proposes legislation?
How the fuck did the big beautiful bill become a thing?
Yeah, so I don't think because of Republicans. So let me make it very clear. Let me make it very clear. There is an executive, a legislative, and judicial branch. The legislative branch passes and proposes laws, right? So someone in the House of Representatives can propose a law, and they can vote on it in the House, and then it goes to the Senate, and the Senate can add modifications, change a few things. But if the Senate votes to pass the law also, then it's sent to the president. Either he votes it, either he vetoes it, or he signs it into law. But presidents themselves do not actually propose legislation. Now they can say, "Hey, I would support." They can say, "I would like Congress to pass this," or "I would like the Republicans in Congress to support this bill," but they are not actual.
I guess I was thinking of executive orders. That's where I made the mistake.
Yeah, executive orders are not legislation.
But I knew all that. It's just that I was kind of.
How many people are in the Supreme Court?
I think it's 8 people, right?
9.
This is stuff that you can Google.
But you're 31. You're 31.
Yeah,
I'm 19.
bro,
you said I'm a
list of
fraud.
shit right next to
I'm
you,
just matching
bro.
your energy. You called me a fraud.
You have a list of stuff right next to you that you can name over and over.
By the dude, I have like my producers can see all of my screens. I'm not Googled any of this stuff. I just know this stuff.
No, you were Googled it earlier, so you know you can ask people later.
Well, by the way, it's ask, not ax. It's not a literal
that,
ax. It is ask, just to help you with punctuation.
You're more. First of all, you're more ghetto than me.
Enunciation.
I can guarantee you listen to more rap music than I do. I can guarantee you.
It's not about rap music. It's the fact that it's not ax. You're talking about an ax. You're not axing me anything. It's ask. Right. Enunciate your words. It's ask. Can you say it with me?
Yeah, you're trying to gaslight now.
I'm just trying to help you. It's ask.
You're the person that's ghetto, ironically enough.
I'm literally just trying to help you. It's ask.
No,
it's not hard. It's not a complex thing. Anyway, you called me a fraud. I think it's ghetto not to know the 3 branches, well, not to understand how the 3 branches actually function. I think it's ghetto not to know how many people are in the Senate.
I just was not, thinking of it at the second because we were going back and forth.
Yeah. What year was the Declaration of Independence?
Declaration of Independence, I believe that was like 1781. It wasn't 1776 like people think.
No, the Declaration of Independence was 1776.
Oh, what am I thinking of then? Because I know that the country didn't become independent till a couple of years later.
No, the Declaration of Independence was 1776. The Declaration of the Independence was 1776.
When did the Revolutionary
So you
War
got that? You got that wrong. You got that wrong. You did.
Because I was confused because I didn't think we were truly independent till the end of the war.
Brother, I asked you what. Okay.
And I said the right date anyway.
I asked you when the Declaration of Independence happened.
It was 1776. I told you. But
what do you mean you told me? You told me 1781.
I wasn't sure. I was saying, is that when the war ended? That's what I was asking.
Oh, I think you're talking about the ratification of the Constitution. That's a totally different thing. Anyway, let's get right back to this. Okay, so you're 31. I'm 19. So that would mean you're 12 years older than me, and you talk about how I'm a fraud. I know more about the U.S. government and U.S. history than you do. That's quite embarrassing.
You do not know more about the U.S. government than me. You literally do not. You're just a fraud with a bunch of lists of stuff in front of you, and you have media training from your Daily Wire handlers. That
actually, like I've been this smart for a while now, or knowledgeable. Can I ask you, who's the mayor of Chicago right now?
I don't live in Chicago.
I don't either. Brandon Johnson is. Who's the governor of New York State?
That's Kathy Hochul.
Kathy Hochul, okay. Who's the governor of Texas?
Hot Wheels.
You mean Greg Abbott?
Yeah.
Okay. Greg Abbott is the governor. Okay, California, you should know, is a very easy one.
That piece of shit, Gavin Newsom.
Okay, at least we can agree on that one. But generally speaking, dude, I know more about the U.S. government than you do.
Say that again?
I know more than you, dude. Sorry.
You literally do not, bro.
How many continents are there?
There's 8 continents.
Huh?
There's 8 continents.
There's 8?
Wait, 7. My bad.
Did we get an update? Did Earth receive an update?
Yeah, it's 7. Maybe
Did Earth receive like a new content update? That's crazy, dude. Okay, so you obviously are not smarter than me, brother. With all the respect, you lack basic knowledge. Anyway, I appreciate you for coming up. Thank you. We're going to end the show on... All right, well, thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the nuclear reaction. I will catch you guys all tomorrow here at 7 p.m. until whenever the signal ends. By the way, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're also going to be trying out some Umingle and doing some, face-to-face, video-to-video debates as well. And I think it's going to be really exciting. Anyway, see you guys all in the next one. Okay? Peace.
Wander, the wasteland's digital, the network's growing every time we send the signal. The frequency is nightly, the waiting room is feisty, the trolls are at the gates, the debate is getting spicy. You're on the clock, what you got? Fact check, got caught, time's up, crashed out, found out. Rock leak, sneak peek, nukes coming off the streets, white flash, total heat. Say your prayers, amen. See you all tomorrow and we'll do it all again.